Welcome, welcome. It is 3 Degrees with proper fangirl Heather Anna. I am her, I am she. This is me. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Maybe you were surprised not to see 3 artist names in the episode description. Why is that? Well, today is a different day. It's a getting to know me, getting to know all about me, and why I sing songs, and why I know songs, and why I don't know some songs, and why songs are important to me, and why I like songs, and why I like lyrics of songs, and how I write songs. Oh, did I tell you that? Oh my gosh, guys. Okay, we're going to get into it. If you want to know a little something about me, if you don't, listen anyway. Don't be tacky. That's just hateful. You do want to know the story behind the story. This is a behind the story with Heather Anna, proper fangirl. And it's going to explain to you why I am the way that I am. Are you ready? Because this is today's episode of 3 Degrees. All right, guys, I'm going to tell you a story. Okay, are you ready for a story today? Y'all, buckle up, settle in, sit down. You're probably going to sit down. Well, you could walk for this one. This is a walking one, maybe. This is an out on the porch, sitting, seaside, maybe. Are you seaside? That'd be nice. I wish I was seaside. Anywho, I'm going to tell you why I am the way that I am, how I got here, how this happened. Okay, let's start at the beginning. I was born a while ago. It's been a minute, okay? I was an 80s kid, and I grew up in church. So my first introduction to music was worship. We went to a non-denominational church, and I went to a Baptist school. So not only did I learn the kind of non-traditional, folksy kind of worship music, but I also learned the traditional hymns because I went to a Baptist school. So I was pretty well-rounded there. I didn't really realize that there was music kind of outside of that, except for what we heard on the radio. So I grew up listening to Christian music. Now, by the time I could start buying music, I was purchasing contemporary Christian music. So Sandi, Patty, Michael Card, Twyla Paris. I even was into Psalty, the singing songbook. If you don't know that glorious gem, Charity Church Mouse, one of my favorites. Please look that up. I promise you it will not disappoint. And so my musical taste was probably different than most. When people were listening to hair bands in the 80s, when they were listening to Madonna, I was not listening to Madonna. I was not listening to Like a Virgin. That was not happening at all. In fact, I think I was a little afraid of Madonna, if I'm honest. I was sure that it was completely and totally sinful. I had seen the music video on MTV. I don't even know how I saw it, but I saw the music video and I was like, everything about this is wrong. I feel like this is totally wrong. Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I was for sure that I shouldn't have been listening to it. So it wasn't a household where you couldn't listen to secular music. We just didn't listen to a lot of it. And Sandi Patty was my idol. I mean, I wanted to be Sandi Patty. In fact, so much so that I would literally sit in my room in front of my triple mirror dresser while I was doing my hair and putting on my clear mascara and my very nude lipstick that I was allowed to wear when I was 13 and 14. And I would imagine being on stage with Jay Leno and, kind of explaining how I became a songwriter. Because, of course, I played the piano, too. I started that when I was 11, but I'll tell you about that in a second. And I was going to explain to him how I got into songwriting and how Sandi Patty was my biggest influence and how, the opening look for my stage when I was on tour was me sitting at said triple mirror dresser and, singing into my mirror and imagining sitting here talking to you. And here we've come full circle. Okay, I've always been a dreamer. I've always been a little on the dramatic side. Okay, but music spoke to me. Music was everything to me. In fact, my parents bought a piano when I was a little kid in hopes that we would all play something. My mother's real dream was that I would play the piano and then one of my other sisters would play the flute and one would play the violin and we'd be this trio in the living room playing her music at all times. It didn't quite work out that way, but I did learn to play the piano. So, in fact, somebody taught me Heart and Soul. Heart and Soul, I fell in love with you, now I know. That one. So that's a two-handed dealio with another person playing, and I learned how to play that, but then you don't have somebody always around to play that with you. And so I made up some little ditty in my right hand so that I could play it. My mom was like, what's that? I was like, oh, do you like it? And she was like, yeah, what is it? I was like, oh, I don't know. It just, it sounds right together, right? Like it sounds like it should go together. And she was like, I mean, yeah, I guess, but like, what is it? I was like, I don't know. I made it up. She's like, what do you mean you made it up? I was like, I made it up. Like, I just, I don't know. I was 11. I didn't know how else to explain that, like, this sounded good with that. And I put it together and that I made it up. I didn't even understand that I was writing a song. So mom says at that point, okay, we need to get her piano lessons. So they put me in piano. But what they didn't know was that I wasn't really interested in reading music. I did want to play, but the reading wasn't as fun. So basically what I would do is I would tell the teacher, hey, could you play that little part for me real quick? And then she'd play it and then I'd play it right back. And if I got messed up, I mean, because I could kind of understand it. I understood signature and time and treble and what's C clef? Treble bass clef. Yeah, I understood that stuff, right? Obviously, I've retained it really, really well. And so I understood a half note and a whole note and a quarter note and all that jazz. But I just didn't really like doing that part. So we realized I play by ear. So I could listen to a song and then go to the piano and kind of pick it out according to whatever skill level I was at and, kind of play along to Amazing Grace or How Great Thou Art or whatever. And so I started writing these little instrumental pieces with what sounded right together. So I loved that. And of course, everything needed to be played very fast because I felt like the faster I could play it, the more skilled that I was. Please somebody explain that to me psychologically. I'm sure there's some kind of something mixed up in that, but I'm not interested in digging into that. Let's just say we did and not. Anywho, so I am in church, non-denominational, guitars, pianos, dancing for Jesus, no flags, no snakes. But we did dance for Jesus and I loved dancing for Jesus. I loved singing for Jesus. I loved it all. The worship was my favorite part. Worship lasted an hour and a half of the 30-minute sermon at the end. It was like glorious. It was heaven to me. All I ever wanted to do was sing. We sang in the car. We sang in the house. My dad playing the trombone when he was in school. He actually got a scholarship. He sang. He also sang in college. He traveled to Europe. My mother could sing. My sisters could sing. It was so much fun. So we were always singing something. Almost all the time. In fact, when we get together today, we're almost always singing. Like, how the part where I did the getting to know you, yeah, that's something that we commonly do if we're talking about, hey, I made a new friend, and then we'll start singing that, or on a whole host of other songs. I'll sing them if they come to my mind. But it was something that we love to do as a family is listen to music. So we always had something new. We would go to local churches to hear Steve Green or Stephen Curtis Chapman. And then when I got into high school, I started discovering different artists. Mary Chapin Carpenter. I had a boyfriend who introduced me to country music. I may have mentioned that in the Shania episode, but I had a boyfriend who introduced me to all country music. So Brooks and Dunn, Shania Twain, the Judds, who else? Garth Brooks, all the people of the 90s that were singing country music. I was listening to them on repeat and I loved it. It was great. I was like, okay, completely different genre. I'm fine with it. I listened to all of it. I might have even gone to a Garth Brooks concert. In fact, I think I remember having a t-shirt that I got. Very strange. I don't really recall the concert, but I must have gone, right? Anywho, I did that mostly during high school. Okay, but here's the thing. I only started buying music when I was in high school. And because I had the boyfriend that was country, well, that was pretty much all I bought. I mean, I remember buying The Preacher's Wife and having a religious experience, literally being in my room, listening to some of the songs from The Preacher's Wife soundtrack and thinking, I'm in heaven. I'm living in heaven in my bedroom right now and just sobbing. This is something that I have a tendency to do when music is so good, I cannot control myself. I'm crying. I just love it so much. It's inside of me. So we go through high school, then it's country music. And because I didn't really listen to secular music, I knew of like Chicago and ABBA and James Taylor and people like that because that was like on Peach 94.9 and B 98.5, late nights with so-and-so. I was able to listen to that. And of course, Whitney Houston. I actually remember, funny story. I actually remember listening to Whitney Houston. And I used to babysit for these people. They had a little boy and I listened to the whole Whitney Houston thing. Oh, I want to dance with somebody. Well, anyway, there was some random song in there, and I finally got through to B98.5 one time, and I was like, can you please play? And I can't tell you what song it was, but it was like on the B side or something. It was just a song that I was really connected to. This is before I understood that, like, they only played, like, the singles. They don't, anyway, I didn't understand that. I didn't know it. And I was so excited and I was so nervous talking to whoever was on the radio station. And they were like, yeah, okay. And I think they just completely and totally ignored me. But anyway, I didn't have a lot of experience with secular music or calling radio stations, obviously. I didn't understand that part. But anywho, I literally only had all the words to contemporary Christian music or to country music in high school. So think about this. Think about the 80s and the 90s of me not having any of the music that was on popular radio, like current popular radio, right? I didn't have the cassettes. You know, when you get the cassettes and you pull out the whole little piece of paper thing, it's like 6.5 feet long, and the print is so tiny that your grandmother could never read it. There was no way your grandmother could read it. Only children could read these things. It was so tiny. It's like I literally would take them and I would transcribe them to regular paper in my pen that had 7 colors, and I would do each line in different color because that made it easier to read. Lord have mercy. But I loved it. Okay. So now I graduated high school in 1995, stopped figuring out my age, and I get married within 2 years. So, you know, maybe there's some of the secular music that I was listening to, but I wasn't really buying music because what happened in 1999? Well, I gave birth to my first child. And guess what we were listening to? Veggie Tales. So I had a whole string of my life for several years there where I'm pretty sure all I listened to was Veggie Tales. Oh, I did forget this. In high school, I did get Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill. Listened to it on repeat. Loved. And I was a little, I don't know. I don't know. Is it good? Now, when they do the little TikToks now where they talk about, you know, today's kids, when they break up, they're like, I'm driving past your house and I'm so sad. And we're the song from Alanis. I'm not going to tell you the lyrics out loud because it's a little embarrassing. But yeah, I hope they feel it. You know the reference. Anywho. Okay, where was I? What were we talking about? Okay, so Veggie Tales. I have children in 1999 and 2001. I'm consumed with children. And then what happens in 2004, 2005? Well, then I'm getting divorced. And then I met a new boy. And the new boy listened to hip hop and rap. So that was Biggie Smalls and Ludacris. Oh my God, when I got introduced to Ludacris, I thought that I had literally lost my mind. I was like, this is so inappropriate. And I love it. I love it. Oh, and Snoop Dogg. I mean, it's like it was the beat of my heart. It was the beat of the drum of my heart. It was everything magical that I could ever even possibly imagine. And I thought, where has this been my entire life? Well, it's been far, far away because I've been listening to contemporary Christian music, and it was nothing like Snoop Dogg and Ludacris. But I was married, so, you know. Oh, I wasn't married then. Well, I had a boyfriend. Okay, I was a grown-up. I could make my own decisions about what kind of music I wanted to listen to. So I listened to Ludacris and Snoop Dogg and Tupac and Nelly and everything else that he introduced me to. And I was like, this is glorious. I couldn't tell anybody. Nobody could know. I just couldn't tell anybody. But I wasn't purchasing CDs. This was like iPod days. So I had all of these fun, ridiculous songs on iTunes, on my iPod, because my boyfriend got me a classic iPod. It was one of my most exciting gifts. And then I also got a shuffle, an iPod shuffle, a little tiny clip thing, something that you could easily wash in the washing machine and completely ruin. Such a great invention. Anywho, lost one, bought another one, whatever. I think I still have it in a jewelry box. So then we started downloading music. Okay, so downloading music and then listening to CDs in the car, but then also listening to them on the iPod. But what new music was I listening to? No, I was stuck in this era. I had gone back 10 or 15 years. So that was fine with me. That was fine. I liked it. Kid Rock? Sure. Okay. What else do you have? Brandy? Okay. Beyonce? Yes. Destiny's Child? Of course. Come on. And so here I am in a brand new genre of hip hop and R&B and rap. I'm in love. It's amazing. Oh, I discovered Jason Mraz with one of my favorite friends, Tim, who went to church with. Oh, and then I went back to church. Once I got divorced, I went back to church. Then I had the new boyfriend. Are you guys keeping up with this? I hope you're writing this down. So now I'm back into church. I'm learning new songs at church, but I'm also learning the rap. He said to me one time, my friend, Tim, the one that was in choir with me, he said to me one time about the thong song. And I thought he was joking. It's an actual song. There's a song called the thong song. And I was in heaven. And my friend Tim knew everything about all kinds of secular music. So he was teaching me stuff too. And I was overwhelmed, but so incredibly excited because I've been introduced to yet another genre. So we have Christian music. We have soft rock of the 70s and the 80s. Then we had country music, solid in the 90s. And in the 2000s, I got introduced to hip hop, rap, and R&B. And I was like, this is so fun. But again, at that phase when I'm single, dating, whatever, in 2004, 2005, I'm not purchasing as much as like, listen to that song. Ooh, I like that. Add that to my playlist. I'd purchased that song for $1.19 or 99 cents, however much it was way back then. It was a very expensive iPod that I had. $300 iPod, which I didn't buy. My boyfriend bought it. Thank you so much, love. He's not my love anymore. But that's how I felt at the time. And then whatever songs that I put on there, I'd never participated in Napster. I felt like that was very wrong and not good for the artist because it wasn't good for the artist. Then songs started to speak to me, really and truly speak to me, because it was a rocky relationship that I had. So we were on again and off again. And oh, Lord have mercy. And songs met me in the dark places, in the sad places. And I thought songs spoke to me. And when I got divorced in 2004 and 2005, I hadn't played the piano in a really long time, and I started writing music again. What did I write? I wrote worship songs, about Jesus meeting me in the places that I was. And I actually wrote one love song in that time frame, and it was because of the new boyfriend that I had. Oh, the days. And then, of course, when would I play these songs? Well, I would have friends over to my house and I would get to drinking. And then about 2 or 3 in the morning, I'd be on my piano belting out a worship song, which my neighbors, when I lived in the apartment complex, weren't particularly fond of. Well, the wife wasn't, but the husband said it was completely and totally fine. He says, she only has 2 more songs to go. She'll stop soon. Yeah, that's an actual true story. But it was just the thing that I wanted to do because I loved music so much. So I end up in this relationship and I'm with him for over a decade. I have more children, if you can believe it. I have 2 more children in 16 and 2017. But there's a big gap of no music. I wasn't really listening to anything. The radio, just the repeats of everything else, until I found Harry Styles. And when I found Harry Styles, here's where I was. I was single. I had left who I considered my husband of 13 years. And I had 2 more children. So I had a total of 4 children. I was super, super sad. I was trying to get my life back together. And I had heard of Watermelon Sugar. And someone had mentioned to me what they thought it might be about. And then I watched the music video and I went, excuse me, sir. I think you're too young to be talking about such things. And I thought it was cheeky and funny. And I actually had my cousin over and I said, listen, have you heard the song Watermelon Sugar by Harry Styles? And she said, I haven't. I said, oh, you got to see this music video. It's hysterical. So we turned the music video on and we laugh and whatever. And we keep talking. And the next music video to cue up was Falling. And that was it. Falling changed me. Now, this has happened to me several times in my life where I feel like a song changed me. When I broke up with my ex in 2000 and what was it? 17, 18? Either Way by Chris Stapleton and Blackbird by the Beatles. Those were the things that I laid in bed and listened to over and over again with my babies in cribs and just sobbed to. I mean, there was hope in that, right? Either Way, I'm Not Gonna Love You. That was sad. But my first tattoo is Learn to Fly based on Blackbird because I thought, you know what? I'm going to show my kids that just because everything that you ever dreamed of goes up in smoke, you can learn to fly again. And this was the same kind of moment for falling. I listened to the words of falling and I thought, who am I now? I mean, really, who am I now? I am a middle-aged mother of 4. And what am I going to do? Like, what is my future? And the more that I investigated, we're going to use the word investigated, Harry Styles, the more I kind of fell in love with how he presents himself as a very kind, loving human. And to be honest, I really had kind of lost all hope and faith in people. And so I thought, okay, let's try this. Let's do this thing. This kid, he's a kid in comparison to me. This kid is still seemingly a kind person. You know, everybody can videotape everything that you do for the last decade at the very least. And he's been videotaped nearly everything he's done for the past 10 or 11, 12 years. And he seemed kind still. So I thought, okay, if he can still be kind, maybe it's because people aren't as bad as I think they are. And I had completely convinced myself that people were just awful. So I did a weird thing. I decided to become an Uber driver. One, I wanted to make more money because I thought I am going to take control of my life so that I can do things. So I need to get a part-time job. And 2, I like people, I think. I thought maybe I might like people. So I thought, okay, put me in a space where I can talk to people. So I did. I put myself in a space where I could talk to people. And I did go along in these cars and get one person after the other. And okay, I have bad news, good news. I don't know how you're going to take this news. People are generally pretty nice. Generally speaking, they're pretty nice. Generally speaking, they're decent. Generally speaking, I just didn't run into a crappy person. It was hundreds and hundreds of rides. And I'm like, wait a minute. I was so convinced that people were absolute shit. I was so convinced that there was no good in the world anymore. And I was wrong. I was wrong. And so then it started me thinking some more. Okay, I need to see Harry Styles. I need to see Harry Styles. I've got to see Harry Styles. I watched him perform. I thought I should go to a concert. So I bought a ticket to see him perform in January of 2021. You know, not quite a year into the pandemic. There was no vaccine. There's no end in sight, right? But I just thought it's going to work out. Like, the world is going to come together and we're going to get a vaccine and it's all going to work out. And I am going to go see this young man perform because he just gives me joy and I have to experience him. So I buy one ticket and then I get a second ticket because I thought, well, I mean, it's Atlanta, but, you know, go somewhere fun. So then I bought a ticket to see him at Madison Square Garden on Halloween. Yeah. Okay. And then it was like, I've never been to California. Maybe I go see him in California. San Diego sounds cool. So then I got a ticket to San Diego. Okay. Just to skip ahead, this went on because then I decided to do a TikTok. And then I did a TikTok under Proper Fangirl. And then Proper Fangirl became this person. That person became me. We became the same person. We are the same person. We're the same person. We started buying up all the Harry Styles tickets. And I did the whole tour. I did 13 shows. I did 13 shows of the 42 that he did last fall. I said it. I did it was okay. It sounds ridiculous. I know don't roll your eyes at me. I see you. If you understood, okay, you just don't understand. How do you explain what it was like in the room? It was like being surrounded by a whole bunch of people that so desperately needed to experience joy. I mean, desperately needed to experience joy. And we did, together, collectively, after listening to stories every single day about people dying all over the world. It was the first set of concerts that happened. And I met people, lots of people. I made lifelong friends. The music from Harry Styles changed me. And so in deciding that I needed to see Harry Styles, then I was like, well, I'd also like to meet him. And if I'm going to meet him, well, how can I meet him except to say, a meet and greet. What am I going to say? Thank you so much for inspiring me to be a better person. No, that's not what I wanted to say. Because what I decided that I wanted to do is be a podcast host. I thought, okay, this is what you do, Heather. You talk. This is what you need to do. Okay. And of what? I mean, I love people. I could talk to people. What do you love more than people? Music. I love music more than I love people. And I thought I'd love to interview musicians. And I thought, Heather, how are you going to do that? You know, not nothing, but you don't know what other people like. I don't know popular music like other people my age do. I couldn't tell you that Coldplay sang Fix You. I didn't know it was Coldplay. I knew Shania Twain. I knew Avril Lavigne. I knew some James Taylor, but there were other artists that I should know. I know the song. I could sing the song. I could pick the song on the piano, but I couldn't tell you who the band is. So I thought, okay, how do you do that? I thought, well, I could do a podcast where I talk about musicians, not a biography, but just how I talk. I could just explain. And then I got the idea for 3 Degrees. And I thought this will be my homework. This is how I will investigate all the bands and all the artists that I know of, but don't know well enough. And I'll learn. Because I love music and I love people and I love learning. So that's what I'll do. And then one day, when this podcast is done, when I've decided, okay, I'm done, I'll move on to the next thing. And then I can meet Harry Styles. And then I can sit down and explain to him how he truly influenced me. Because music is the thing. It's the thing that brings us together. It's the soundtrack of my life. Can I just tell you that the invention of earbuds is like the greatest thing ever? I literally can walk around the world in my own soundtrack. I just went to Walmart and walked around the entire store just singing. I don't know if I annoyed the people around me. And quite frankly, I did not care. Music is everything to me. I love my children. I love my family. I love my friends. But I don't know if I could live without music. It meets me when I'm sad. It comforts me when I'm lonely. It rejoices with me when I'm excited. It makes me dance when I feel like moving. It's just the most magical thing ever. So I'm a girl who grew up in a Christian household, who listened to Christian music and worship songs, who still writes worship songs, who now writes a few love songs, who plays the piano, okay, who sings all right, but has such an incredible passion for music. Well, I just want to share it with you. And my goal is, when you listen to these episodes, that I inspire you to check out a different genre or a different artist, or go, I didn't think those went together. I've never thought about this artist and that artist, or I haven't listened to that artist in 15 years. Because I feel like we need to continue to influence music through all the other music that we've listened to. They all go together. I mean, Ed Sheeran just had to go to court fighting over whether his song was somebody else's song. It's like, dude, the same 4 chords are in thousands of songs. But man, you put a different melody and a different set of lyrics over that, and you've got something so incredible. It could move you to tears. It could bring so much joy to your life that you can't hardly see straight, that you can't sit still. It's magic. It's the truest magic that I know. And I wanted to bring some of that to y'all. So that's me in a nutshell, as far as music goes. And should help explain to you why I don't know some of these things. It's not intentional. It's not because I don't love music. I love music so much. But I've got some stuff to learn. All right, my little love bugs. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know it was a surprise and I kind of threw you off a little. But I just like it. I like to surprise you sometimes. And I may do this on occasion, maybe tell you a little story, tell you what's going on, what's happening in the world of Proper Fangirl, or me. It's the same person, right? It is the same person, guys. This has been a lot of fun. I have got a great set of folks to talk to you about next time. I hope that you're enjoying this process. And thank you for being here with me. If you would like to take this opportunity to go back, you may have missed one of the 6 episodes that I already have posted. So go back and give it a listen. And this is a great opportunity for you to share this particular episode with somebody who you think might enjoy 3 Degrees. This is my introduction. They can say, this is who she is. This is what she talks about. She is ridiculous, over the top, and a little bit crazy. But she's lovely. And she does accents sometimes. Sometimes you don't know what she's going to say. But it's glorious. You'll love it. And if you don't love it, that's fine. Give it to somebody else that will. Because you know what? I'm not everybody's cup of tea. You can be the sweetest peach in the room and somebody's not going to like peaches. You know what I mean? All right, guys, I hope you have a great day and I will see you next time on 3 Degrees.